Constantly shifting through the time-space continuum, Metron's three disciples observe the universe from the Mobius Couch.
Freedom and love, that's what he's looking for. Freed from desire, mind and senses purified. Freed from desire, mind and senses purified. Freed from desire, mind and senses purified. Scotland's on fire. Your defense is terrified. Woo! Everybody, welcome to the Mobius Couch, the universe's #1 podcast dedicated to European soccer hooliganism. And World Cup is a big time for that. So, ladies and gentlemen,
I can't wait to talk about World Cup and other sports things.
Yeah, so I'm Alessandro, and joining me, of course, are Joe and Patrick here to talk about football, soccer.
Listen,
football.
I know you guys are gonna listening or / viewing this show. Maybe 2 weeks from now, maybe 1 week from now. But currently, Portugal just beat Spain.
Croatia.
Wait, no,
And they were playing Croatia.
Yeah. 2-1.
2-1.
Good for them. Good for them.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about football other than that Scotland song. That Scottish fans who
there is one interesting fact that I think it's really important we mention before we change dials or anything like that, is that Italy has not been in the World Cup.
Okay. My response to that is that Italy is holding steadfast in their decision to boycott World Cups held in countries that have human rights issues, like Qatar, Russia, and the United States of America.
Oh, that is not true.
So maybe if ICE was off your streets, Italy would come and participate. I
think it's really fine. Let's change those dials, though, because we have.
Oh, let me look at these dials. What dials were? Oh, we are an interdimensional vehicle, and this is
we're an
the correct. This is the correct dimension. But let me just.
Before we switch dials, Ireland hasn't been in a World Cup since 2002. Not because they're boycotting, just because they suck.
Don't speak ill of your own people, Patrick.
Ever since Roy Keane retired, they haven't been.
How hard can it be? I mean, Scotland is. How hard?
It's just the one guy. Irish soccer was all the one guy.
Just Roy Keane.
When I was in Ireland, they told me that they care a lot more about rugby over there than soccer these days.
Okay. Well, do they win rugby World Cups, or are they bad at that too?
No,
but they're good at rugby, though. They're good.
Yeah, they're good at rugby.
And those Irish rugby men are very good looking.
Okay. Well, they're not as good as New Zealand's All Blacks. I know that. They're big rugby people.
What about the All Whites?
Anyway,
I don't think they're allowed anymore. After,
what are you talking about?
Okay. Let me check these dials.
Let's switch those dials.
Let's check these dials. The Mobius Couch, where we talk about comic books. Comics. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mobius Couch. I'm Alessandro, and joining me as usual are Patrick.
Hello. I'm Patrick. Hello. How's it going?
Hey,
what's up?
And Joe.
What's going on?
Hello.
Hey, Joe.
I'm Joe.
We're the Mobius Couch.
Hey, Al. Hey,
so
Patrick.
today we're taking a bit of a left turn. We typically do mainstream your DCs, your Marvel comics.
Not typically.
We usually do your big brand, big boy
We've
comics.
dipped into the independent stuff quite a bit.
We are
It
taking
just has to strike all of our fancies, and that's hard to accomplish.
Yeah,
sometimes.
but we're taking a little bit of a left turn into Image Comics, and today we are going to talk about Do A Powerbomb, which is a comic about wrestling. And it is by, of course, friend of the podcast, Daniel Warren Johnson, DWJ. We've done his Transformers. We did the intro arc to his Transformers comic. Did he do the Duke? He didn't do Duke, right? That was.
I was wondering if you guys remembered that or not.
Yeah, but
Al, I knew you were going to look it up.
No, I remembered. I mean, we did.
Duke's not Daniel Warren Johnson.
Duke was in that Energon G.I. Joe universe, but not DWJ.
Energon. But yeah, sure.
GIF, tomato, whatever it is. But so Do A Powerbomb is inspired by sort of the world of no holds barred Japanese wrestling. And Daniel Warren Johnson is one of those rare cats who writes and does his own art. So Mike Spicer does the color work, and they work together a lot. But in terms of narrative and art, we're really just talking about one guy, DWJ. But that's what we're talking about this week. Should we jump into it? Anything else we want to?
Yeah, all I would say is still reading Transformers, although I'm not current, and it's very good. And he doesn't draw every issue, but I've heard that he's coming back to this book right now. Like, I think they're doing volume 2 of this, or not sure. So he's a busy guy. He's got a lot going on. Everyone loved. I heard nothing but good things about Do A Powerbomb. So that's why I was like, I've got this book and this book and this book, and I thought maybe one. And then I was just like immediately like wrestling. I was like, okay.
So speaking of wrestling, a little bit of a side note. The edition I have has an interview with DWJ at the front, and he talks about how he got into wrestling. And he got into it because he had a young child who was keeping him up late at night, and he didn't have anything to do. And so a friend of him got him into Japanese pro wrestling specifically. Compared to, American pro wrestling is like WWE, now AEW, that kind of stuff. Compared to that, Japanese wrestling is a little bit more colorful. It's kind of like Mexican luchador wrestling, where there's a lot of crazy costumes and masks, and they really go in on stunt work, like high flying, stuff like that, like more so than American wrestling. So that kind of,
which is kind of the style of the wrestling we're seeing in this book.
Yes, right. And it's a lot less of, in the US, like John Cena or Stone Cold. You see their face, you see their personality, this and that. Japanese wrestling is a lot more like these people are not acted like they live that role. They do not exist outside of their masked wrestling persona. Yeah. So he got into this Japanese wrestling because he had to put his baby to sleep and was bored. And what captivated him is, again, like I mentioned, that style of wrestling is more sort of, there is no actor playing a persona. They kind of fully put up those curtains. Like in American wrestling, it's kind of understood that it's fake. And like Steve Austin or whomever is playing Stone Cold, or Dwayne Johnson is playing The Rock. But in Japanese wrestling, it's you fully suspend that disbelief. Like there is a full dividing line, and that wrestling persona is that. They are that high flying, whatever they are. And so Daniel Warren Johnson speaks to the fact that that's really what got him into the wrestling, is just the degree to which these wrestlers would devote their entire being to being that persona, to doing those stunts, to putting their body through the ringer. Because again, even though wrestling's fake, falling 15 feet from a ladder through a table is real. That stuff is hers. Yeah. So he just really appreciated how deeply they went into that.
That's and so the parts of normal wrestling that I appreciate, or not normal.
Well, no, American. Right. Not that American pro wrestlers don't also do that.
Yeah, they do some real stuff.
Yeah. But so that what really birthed this comic was what I just mentioned. Getting into comics, getting into wrestling while caring for his daughter. As we talk about this comic, like it becomes very clear why those two factors then led to this comic, which is very much about parent and child in wrestling.
Yeah.
So that's how it started. I was giving that background, but let's do overall takes right before we get into
overall takes. Patrick,
go Pat.
I'll go last. I feel like y'all will say stuff that I'm just gonna be like, I agree with everything they said, and then
first of all, can't say enough of the art. I loved it in Transformers. Transformers is kind of the first time I'd seen his art. Although looking back now, I'm like, oh wait, he did that. Oh, never mind. I know him. But that was the first time I really remember going like, wow, this is incredible. Like he kind of let loose maybe more in that, or maybe there's a little more freedom in the Energon universe. But or maybe his style just kind of developed to where it is now. But there was one panel, and I know we talked about it when we did Transformers, but one of the the car is speeding up a wall, turns sideways, her door flips open while someone falls, and the girl falls into the car, and the door shuts. The way that was drawn, I was just like, that was mind blowing. Like how you got all that into one panel. But that's throughout this entire thing. So much energy, so much stuff going on in the background. Like he uses, I don't know, the lights and the smoke and the crowd to kind of add to the energy of whatever punch or hit is happening in the ring at the same time, and which I thought was wonderful. There was also, much like the cover that is the big cover of the the graphic novel. It's not an individual cover, but like just those times when someone would be flipping off of a ladder or something, or off the top rope and into the crowd, and it's like a body just hovering in space, and everything was just still around them, like versus like all the crazy energy pointing at the wrestlers. It was like just a moment of silence. Like you could almost like feel like everyone in the audience was holding their breath, and I thought it was just astounding. Like the art is just top notch. I loved every second of it. The fight scenes were super energetic. The still scenes are great and have a lot of personality, facial expression, like just everything you could want. Tons of artistic sound effects and drawn sound effects and just all throughout. It's really good. Like the announcers' words are very often like normal text, but with like Cobra-san, and it's like, it's bursting out of the, the word bubble. Story-wise, I just loved it. I mean, like, again, I had no idea going into this what it was going to be about other than wrestling. I just heard really, really good things about it. But my own daughter and I have a very close relationship, and she's young. So I had immediate emotional connection to the story arc from the first second of what was going on. So basically I was just like, oh no, I'm going to cry in this book, kind of, and it's a wrestling book. I'm like, oh no, kind of thing. So this hit me on a very emotional level just because of where I'm at in my life, and like reading his little intro to where you got into wrestling in the beginning just made me go, oh no, this is gonna hit me pretty hard. I think. I can also remember staying up late with my daughter, who also refused to go to bed sometimes. Doing the same thing. So like, not watching wrestling, we were watching other like it's the same idea. So yeah, I love this from start to finish. I thought it was fantastic. It gets a little off the rails at the end, which almost in a good way though. I don't know, like kind of a wow, this went there. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. But then it's it is what it is. We'll get to issue 7 when we get there. But yeah, I thought it was fantastic. Love the writing, love the art, and he did it all. Colors are great. Al?
I'm more lukewarm on it than you are. I still enjoyed it, especially as sort of a self-contained book and arc. I thought it worked. You mentioned he's working on a sequel. I don't know how interested I would be in reading that.
I don't know either. You kind of went as far as you could go.
Yeah, so I'm a little more lukewarm on it, but I still enjoyed it. I do agree. I love his art. He has this kind of, I don't know how to describe the aesthetic. It sort of almost feels 70s French, European, Tintin, Mobius like, but scratchier and grittier, sort of. But it works. So I really like his art style, especially for action movement scenes. He's good. The panels he does in this book specifically of flight are magnificent. When you see the wrestlers do somersaults off ropes, the angles he picks, and you can really feel the distance and height and energy moving. So it's impeccable. He's great at doing that.
For instance, that scene you just showed was like the whole crowd saying, like the words are saying, whoa, but like you can just imagine the entire crowd just going, as that's happening. Like, I don't know. It's
and
just
you can
really
see,
awesome.
and this before, you just see the tension in the ropes as he's jumping.
Yeah.
It's just, he does a great job of really showing the dynamism of wrestling. So the art, it was honestly great. And Spicer does good color work. The story itself, so it has touching moments. I liked it. One part of it and without bearing the lead, I guess, the conceit of the comic is that these human pro wrestlers get drafted into a Mortal Kombat style real fight tournament. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's the part that such a key part of wrestling is the fakeness of it, but keeping character, knowing it's fake, that idea of kayfabe and everything. And that this comic just throws that away and kind of says, no, this is for real. I don't know if that's supposed to be commentary on wrestling or not, but it's such an integral part of the sport to kind of shit on doing this run that felt weird to me, because it felt
it felt kind of like a commentary on the U.S. versus Japanese wrestling that he was getting.
I don't know, but it almost to me felt like a criticism of the whole construct of wrestling. Because the whole thing is like, well, now it's for real. Prove you're a tough wrestler for real. When in real life, even in a fake wrestling thing, they're getting dragged through nails anyway and slammed through tables. So it feels like a weird criticism of that to say it's only real if it's real, kind of. But so anyway, we can get to that later. But I just mean that felt
we can talk more about. I have some thoughts on that, but I'll.
But I did speaking to the writing though. I did really like the dialogue generally. The jokes hit for me. Necroton as a villain, he was like pretty charming. At the end when they fight God was hilarious. I love all of God's moves of like the hills of Golgotha and like 7 ways to crucify. Like all his moves had funny religious themes. Like I kind of all the comedic bits hit for me, so I did enjoy that. And it had touching moments, but I don't know. The overall narrative didn't quite click. So for me, it's like a lukewarm, but I did sort of enjoy it. That's my take.
Okay.
So I guess I'm gonna have more to say than I thought. I feel like I'm in between both of y'all. I think I'm on the same page with the art. The art's for me, the art's like what makes the book. I think the art's very kinetic, so the action scenes really land. When they get hit, you really feel it. The blows are pretty devastating. I think I've mentioned before, I really love when they embed the onomatopoeia type sound effects as part of the art, and he does that really well, and he does it pretty much almost in every panel, and I just thought it really added to the book. Like everything it was also kind of like giving you as a reader, showing you what's happening in the panel. I think we've talked about how I've kind of struggled with that in previous books where I'm like, did that just drop on Captain Britain's head? And you're like, no, she cut it off. Like it's like helping me see what's going on, like when it says dodge or block, anyway.
The dodge
is great.
The jump, dodge, and certain of them aren't onomatopoeias. So I think that's interesting too.
Right. Yeah.
Like some of it's just a slip, or that kind of thing.
To Al's point, I was kind of on the same page as far as the story goes. I thought the story wasn't really anything I hadn't seen before. I think the art is what makes it really novel. The one interesting thing about the story I thought was the characters. I guess this is a little bit of a spoiler, but it's a father-daughter team. I felt like the dad, who's the older character, is the more dynamic character that kind of grows more and overcomes more. And I felt like the daughter was more like the hero. She's blocked by the dad, but like once like the dad accepts her talent, like Lona doesn't really encounter any real struggle physically. Like she does get the jump drop on her a few times, but overall, like she's like a prodigy beating the shit out of these powerful adversaries, orangutan people. So I thought that dynamic of the daughter kind of being the stronger spirit of the two was interesting. I think my biggest complaint is that the art's so good. The other competitors in the tournament, all the character designs were so interesting that I wish we'd gotten a little bit more of the other matches. And I would have been fine with like another 2 issues of this book, kind of exploring
like the rest of the tournament.
I thought that would have been really. I mean, we get a little bit of it, but I would have liked to see some of the other characters.
Man, that's one of those things where it's always a challenge to go like, do we want more, or are we just saying that? And like, we would have been bitching about this story not being concise if it was like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't. Like, I'm always like, do I want more, or am I fine with just that happening off screen and it's just focused on the characters that are, the main characters. But I would have loved that. But at the same time, like maybe if I read those issues, I would have been like, well, this issue is a throwaway issue, and so is this 5th issue is a throwaway issue.
I think the art was so good that I but I get your point though. Yeah. And my last thing is one of me and Alessandro's favorite animes is called Ping Pong, and that's like a anime about guys playing ping pong. But the animation is there's a lot of symbolism. Like they all have kind of, one guy has like a robot symbolism, one guy's a dragon. And you kind of got that with bits and pieces with this. I think when they have the flashback of the mom and dad doing their special move, which is called like Sword Sunrise or something. Like there's a giant sword also flying by.
Yeah.
When the pizza guys are fighting, there's like a giant piece of pizza like flying by. Like I kind of enjoyed those.
Pizza slice.
Yeah.
There's the Knights of the Round Table. I like those too.
Yeah. So overall take, the art's fantastic. The story I thought was a little bit, I don't want to say simple, but like, again, the story was the story, but I think the art really carried the book for me.
Let's get into it. Issue 1. So issue 1 starts off with a little bit of tragedy. Lona, the main character Lona, so this is a flashback to when she was a girl, and her mom is the greatest wrestler in New Japan Pro Wrestling or whatever it's called. and she wrestles. So what's her name? Una? Is it Una Steelrose? Yua. So Yua Steelrose is the mom, and she's wrestling the evil, dastardly Cobra Son, who hates. He comes out and he says, "Cut my music." You know, that's a classic villain move. If you're cutting music, no hero would do that. So he comes out and talks shit to the crowd.
Were you surprised by the father reveal? I actually kind of was. I was like, oh shit.
I was. Yeah.
Well, but so I wasn't, but the timing of it threw me off because when I first read this intro scene, I thought it was clear. Oh, he's the dad. Like obviously he's the dad. But then for
I honestly just thought, I was like, oh, the dad's got to go to work.
Yeah, me too.
You know what? Also, he goes out of his way to draw the dad like very Clark Kent-y, and he's like hiding all his muscle in his suit. And I think he does also just draws him smaller. It's not like he's hiding the muscle into the suit. He just draws him smaller when he's like the normal dad. So like aside from the bulging kind of neck coming out of the suit, it's a much smaller dude. So like I didn't think anything of it, you know, like kind of maybe if he was a huge dude just like squeezed into a blazer, I would have been like, oh, that's obviously the dad. But like, you know, he kind of hides it very purposefully, you know, in the beginning. So I was kind of like, I was kind of caught off guard.
No, well, I basically thought like, oh, that's clearly the dad, especially the super clearly wig hair. I was like, oh, that's the dad for sure. But then for the next two issues, they act like it's not the dad. So I thought, oh, maybe I guess it's not. That threw me off. And then when it revealed it was a dad, I was like, oh, well, no shit. Okay. But it kind of the timing. But he got me with the timing. He kind of like re-tricked me with the timing of it.
Okay.
So.
Well, I thought that was kind of cool. I liked that part.
I was actually totally caught off guard as well. I was like, oh,
before
shit.
We're
I think
like,
the fact
what
happens, you know.
Yeah.
But so we jumped a bit, but what happens in this initial match of Hero, Yua Steelrose?
Well, hold on. Before we even get into that, we're already introduced to all the characters. Like, we're introduced to Lona and Yua and her father and Uncle Blood. What? Yeah, Uncle Blood.
Yeah, Uncle Blood.
Like, real fast. So, like, even though you don't quote unquote know, unless you're Al, that is the father in the wrestling match, you are introduced to him right away. So, like, you're not kind of like, you know all the main characters. I just thought it was cool. One quick note on the art, just the streamers coming down.
Oh yeah,
so
great.
Cool, man. Just like so much energy, and some of them are hanging off the ropes, and a lot of them, the ones that are cascading in the air behind her, are outlined like as a whole and not like individually, which I thought looked cool. I don't know. There's just little things where I was like, that looks awesome. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's just a wrestling wing with streamers coming down behind them.
Yeah. Also, really good thighs on Yua, like a good size.
Yeah. Yua looks good. Yua looks good.
So, one thing about Yua, so she gives her little speech, and she says, "I fight for my family. I fight for my daughter. I fight for my lover."
Yeah, she did say that.
Not father of my child, not husband, just my lover. Is
part of the act, part of the bit. She knows she's not going to get over her lover is.
But so anyway, but she fights the dastardly Cobra Son.
Yeah.
And while Cobra Son, and they do all sorts of, we showed this panel earlier for those watching on YouTube, but Cobra Son does acrobatic jumps off the ring, which we later kind of see as kind of a trademark of his. And then Cobra Son goes for this big sort of off the top rope suplex, but his foot slips and he drops Yua on her neck, kind of $1 Million Baby style, right on her neck, and she dies. So tragedy. That's the
it is. I mean, like, honestly, when Uncle Blood is in the audience with the daughter right away, and she's like, "Uncle Blood, are you okay?" And he's like, "Your mother, she's just the best there is." You know, like, and he's crying. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna end badly." You know, like, just right away, I was like, "Oh no." The uncle is like, also when it's funny that I didn't get to the father thing. I also assumed that the uncle wasn't really her uncle. Like the way people just use the word uncle all the time, and he's just like you can tell he's just an old wrestler.
I thought he was just a friend.
Like, this is the dude that's like around all the time in the gym or like at the wrestling ring and like kind of hangs out with the daughter if she's by herself. Like I just immediately assumed that wasn't her actual uncle. So until like later on when it's like, yeah, that's my sister, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, you're actually her uncle. You know, like, and I guess it's right there. I don't know why I thought that, but It just kind of felt like one of those like uncle scenarios that's not really an uncle.
Is it like, is his last name actually Blood? Because Uncle Blood sounds like
Uncle Blood's like a random. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I thought that maybe his wrestling name, or I don't know. I just like I a million thoughts went in my brain other than this is her actual uncle.
Yeah, but Blood might be related to his old wrestling name or something.
Yeah, it's got to be right. It's got to be.
But we also, when she dies, we get a quick cut of this sort of 80s canon film looking villain guy here, who we later find out is Willard Necroton. Willard, yeah.
A necromancer.
Who actually I think he's pretty fun. I actually really enjoyed him as a character, but we get to that later. So then we immediately kind of do a scene shift to Lona, the daughter, 10 years later. So when she is definitely 18.
So there is a quick...
Just want to make sure we all understand she's 18.
Do we know for a fact how old she is in the first scene?
She's either 6 or 7, I think.
Anyway,
she's older. Maybe 8. I don't know.
Yeah, but she's older, and we find out that she's wrestling.
There's a quick there's a scene that we return to many times throughout the book. So like it's important. It's the emergency room, and she's there with her uncle, and her mother comes, and like the dad comes out and said, "We lost your mom." But there's a specific scene with her laying in her bed with her mom that she's thinking about, like while her mom is being worked on or trying to save her life. And they just kind of have a quick, like, the adorable mother with the daughter laying in the bed conversation kind of thing. But it's important to note only because we return to this scene many times throughout the book.
Well, another important thing to note that, I really want to address this. This child's room is filled with memorabilia of her mother. Which is is that healthy to like idolize the mother's wrestling persona to that degree? Like the way a normal girl
I don't know, it's kind of like their life. It's kind of,
but it's like, your mother. I think it's like an unhealthy balance. It has her mother's, so she's got her mom's belt right above her bed, where a normal girl might have Backstreet Boys or some other poster. She's got her mother's wrestling poster. It's a little too worshipful to be a healthy.
She's got a basketball goal. She's got she's got some other stuff there. She's got some action figures in a glass case that's clearly way too sophisticated for an 8-year-old to have. Although I think she's more like 6 or 7.
And then there's also a picture of her mom, her dad, and her high up above the doorway, which is a weird place to put a family
very
picture.
Tall ceilings in this.
It's a strange place to put a family picture. The decor of the child's room, I find troubling. That's all I wanted to say.
I mean, I don't know. It's pretty straightforward. This is a lot of books, big stuffed animals, another wrestling belt. Everything looks fine.
It is a little over the top, but I think that is just them trying to establish that her death is, it would make more sense for
the mother and the daughter have a strong bond, and there's a huge impact.
That the daughter,
I get they have a strong bond. I don't know how healthy it is. But I don't know how healthy it is to literally worship your mother like this.
I feel like it would make more sense if this was her room after the mom died. Like when she's a teenager,
I agree with that. Yeah, because then it's
that
more
would
of an
be
homage.
really cool, actually, if this room was like more little girly. And then, when you see the room later, it's like very different. But we don't really see that. We see this room again multiple times, but it's always this period of time.
This flash.
And
so maybe that's why.
Yeah, and look, I come from an Italian background, so nobody knows about worshiping moms like Italian boys. But this,
I think it's just a different visual establishing that this daughter is like in love / obsessed with what her mom does in every capacity. It's not just her as a mom; it's her as a wrestler also. I think that's all. And I think that's all it's trying to get across.
I think it is kind of
which
like
makes
she's
a lot of
like
sense when you do the 10 years later. And go ahead, Patty. Sorry.
No, just gonna say like she's up like a prodigy wrestler. She just it's in her blood.
And that feeds into that. Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it makes sense. There's a lot about, so aside from this last bit is just her basically getting her ass kicked by a much larger woman in a wrestling ring, and then afterwards going like. Her Uncle Blood is like, here's your money. And she's like, would you just fucking train me already? And he's like, you're never going to be that good. And she's like, I won't be that good because you won't let me train, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then she basically forces him to admit to her why he won't train her after all this time.
His daddy.
And essentially it's because the dad is like, never train her. I don't want anything to ever happen to her, kind of.
Yeah.
And then she finds out. So of course she blows up at her dad and is like, "How dare you tell him not to train me?" You know.
Visual side note. Lona's costume. I keep saying Yuna because of Final Fantasy X.
Fantasy
And
Final Fantasy X 2 and 10
Yes.
2.
Let's just call her Yuna and Loa.
Okay, but Lona, do you think her wrestling costume is inspired by Goku from Dragon Ball? It's orange.
I mean,
it
does
has a
seem
little
like it.
symbol in the center. It's kind of
More
Goku-esque.
Chitara, you know? I thought it was more Chitara.
Well, she also wears other colors than the orange, though. So that's
Well, but I mean, this one kind of, when I saw it, reminded me a little bit of Dragon Ball.
Does yeah, for sure.
I agree. Also, she's got some badass, crazy hair.
Orange Lantern of Avarice.
She does have a sweet mohawk. She has a pretty badass mohawk.
She's all about greed. She wants everything.
Larfleas. Okay. But
I don't know. Again, this is some throwaway stuff, but just watching the fight, fight scenes are awesome. I want to point this panel out. It says boom. The woman's throwing Lona down on the mat, but like the way the impact is drawn, and I guess it's if it's dust, but it's the color of the mat, and it just looks, there's kind of like a ripple effect of like, you can see the impact on the mat. All right, here you go. I'll show it for anybody on YouTube. You can see that. But this one, it's just like, that's awesome to me. Like little stuff like that. I was just like, man, they really,
and another cool
really
thing
crush
too,
out the onomatopoeias and like the, mixed in and all the movement. Go ahead.
Another cool thing for those who know, all of the wrestling stuff they do is real wrestling moves. Like they do German suplexes, they do real submissions. It's all actual moves, which is kind of neat. But then at the end of this, so after she argues with her dad, Willard Necroton, who again looks like a bad 80s movie villain, comes and grabs her and says he's a necromancer and, do you want to see your mom again? And then mic drop end of the first issue.
Necroton's like Hellraiser mixed with like Biff's gang and Baxter.
But the other thing is he had real Morty.
Hoverboards don't work on water.
He had real Uncle Rick energy from Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
He's got some Rick. He's got some Rick energy going on.
So he's kind of Hellraiser.
He kind of reminded me of the vampire. Did you guys ever read Preacher? Did you ever get into that?
No. I think I just read the first couple trades.
It scared me as a kid, and I never picked it up as an adult.
There's a character in it that kind of reminded me of Necroton a lot. That's all.
I did like I may have already said this in my overall take. Necroton's arena really reminded me of Yu Yu Hakusho's Dark Tournament saga, which is one of my favorite storylines of all time.
I think it's interesting that he shows her an arena, but then later on the arena is enclosed. It's different.
Yeah, well, he can, it's like Dark City.
I get,
changes things.
Yeah, I mean they remodel and everything.
He's like, this is a big tournament. I need to make a bigger stadium.
But this is also going back to the point I made earlier about the kind of Mobius heavy metal aesthetic. Is like, look at this arena island. It's very.
That's the Dark Tournament. That's the island from the Dark Tournament.
But that was also.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, all of it I think is very referential to that style of sort of.
Yes.
Okay, Do A Powerbomb issue
bottom.
2.
What did you say?
Power bottom. That's what we said? Power bottom.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Wait. Issue 2. So in issue 2, we start with kind of a backstory of Willard Necroton, who's our antagonist. So it turns out he's an evil necromancer who was conquering universes and was stopped on the planet Valthar. He was stopped there. And though they couldn't defeat him, they exiled him to this Yu Yu Hakusho-like island.
Some might say Mobius. Some might say it's a Mobius island, but
some might. But those who know that it's Dark Tournament. And so he explains that because he was exiled and lost some of his power, whilst he was bored, he discovered wrestling on television.
Yeah. He's watching. He is like Rick. He's watching internet.
He's watching. He's watching interdimensional wrestling because
he's watching Resort Field.
Yeah. But he gets wrestlers from all dimensions, so it is interdimensional wrestling TV. And so he tells her he's devised this tournament, which is real stakes, and the winner gets to have someone they love resurrected.
Yes.
And that's kind of that's the pitch. That's the sales pitch.
Yeah. So again, not knowing the father is the father, the wrestler that killed the mother. One, it's interesting that he gets her to team up with him. I mean, he knows what he's doing, but he gets her to team up with him to be a tag team because it's a tag team tournament. We didn't mention that. So she needs a tag team partner. And then, like, essentially not knowing what's going on at this point in time, I'm like, oh, that's fucked up to, like, team up with the guy that killed your mom. But then I was immediately faced with the question, which comes to fruition later, of like, if it's a tag team and you can only bring one person back to life, you'd have to agree on that person.
Yeah.
And it'd be very interesting. And I could see, even not knowing as the father, I was like, well, he'd be motivated because it's clearly fucked him up. So like the brief interlude we get with him in current time is that he's dropped down to the ranks of wrestling and he just does like, you know, non-arena level wrestling kind of thing.
I think I think it's okay that
go ahead.
It's okay you and I were shocked that the dad was this wrestler because he does to your point of him like dressed down in Clark Kent. In this scene, the dad's calling her while she's walking into this match and he's like in the ring, which means he was calling her like from the ring. Like I was shocked when it was the dad. I thought it was literally like this was one of her best friends that like her sparring partner. Like when it was the dad, I was like, fuck, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I thought he did a very good job of giving him like the motivation to want to bring her back to life without having to be her lover and father of her children.
Right.
But as we'll see later, actually, that whole idea of if it's a tag team who gets resurrected becomes a
become a thing
later on,
obviously. And I was actually kind of wondering about it. I mean, they touch on it with the orangutans.
The Oranga Banga Banga Tang.
Oranga Banga Tang.
But I thought it was cool because they're both trying to bring back their brother, I think.
Their sister.
But like they're both trying but they're both trying to do the same thing. And I was like, oh, okay, interesting. I wonder if that's going to be like a reveal for each tag team. And they kind of don't really mention it for the most part, you know, like until it's relevant. And I really liked that kind of like slow evolution of like what each team member's motivations were in the other tag teams.
But back to issue 2. So she wants a tag team partner, and so she figures out Cobra-san is a good wrestler. I'll go for him. Also, he owes me because he murdered my mom.
Yeah, I think it's more that, but yeah.
But when we meet Cobra-san now, I think you already mentioned this, he's no longer doing big arena events. He's on kind of a Heart of Darkness journey into the underbelly of wrestling. And he's doing kind of 90s ECW style, no holds barred. If you all watch The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke, the Aronofsky movie, he's an out on his luck former big wrestler who is doing stuff like this with like getting his back scraped across thumbtacks, getting barbed wire raked across his face. Like it's just the depths of pain and suffering and bleeding that you can put out on the ring to excite
offer cheap entertainment in a small space.
Well, cheaper. I mean, actually, let's talk about that because I mean, the way it's shown here, obviously, is this is he wants to repent for his sin, and this is his kind of self-flagellation, lashing himself.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But whether it's a lower, I mean, let's talk about that. Is it a lower form of entertainment, or is it just a higher degree of what are you willing to put your body through to show the audience what your limits are? Like you're willing to live this story, and
I think both of those things could coexist, though.
Beyond, a reasonable threshold of pain to prove your strength and show that.
I think the reason why it's not mainstream, though, I feel like the audience is narrow.
No, this is a little underground. I think it's literally in a basement underground.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a spot. But to your point, Al, I feel like those two ideas could coexist. Like being the dredges of the wrestling world, and also being the place where you can most, one, punish yourself, but two, show your true strength could be the same thing. I don't think those are two like
Well, and it goes back to beyond
one
wrestling.
The other, sure, but I don't think that's the case here.
But that idea too, beyond wrestling, goes back to 50s and 60s kung fu films that kind of led up to like Bruce Lee's explosion, where kung fu film was very interested in showing the beauty of the human body through pain and showing it overcome pain and mutilation to achieve a goal like revenge or victory or things like that. And you routinely see in like Shaw Brothers and older Hong Kong kung fu movies, things like in the last scene, either the good guy dies or gets his arm cut off or gets a fatal slash, like all these really serious wounds that the body can then overcome to achieve the goal they want, right? To show the victory of the human body. And Bruce Lee was big into this. Like in a lot of Bruce Lee movies, he takes his shirt off. And it's not necessarily in like a sexualized way, but more of a way of showing the raw, like literally showing the raw strength of the human body, showing the musculature, showing the Asian physique and what it can achieve.
And slices across his body and what he can overcome.
In Hollywood of the time. And I think that feeds into a little bit of this wrestling through line of just showing a human body take pain and overcome it as this pure physical expression of like what a human could achieve. And, when you're invested in this goal, like, you're Cobra's son fighting evil Tiger Man, and what you're willing to put your body through to get that victory, again, because we know wrestling is fake, but but showing the physical pain you go through to get to that fake ending is what gives wrestling the beauty of that struggle, because your body displays the difficulty.
I do think a lot of this is also still the punishment that he wants to put himself
and
through.
100%. But I just mean, but that goes into this style of wrestling, and that that's kind of like where this underground hardcore wrestling comes from.
So there's a brief moment where like he has the upper hand and he's got a chair wrapped in barbed wire. He's about to hit the guy, and the guy says, "Well, what are you waiting for?" And then it's a brief panel of Yua, and she says, "Do it," and then he hesitates and he gets his ass kicked. And I think that's to show that, like, granted, we're only seeing him now 10 years later, but that's to show like he's fallen from the graces of higher wrestling, because every time he gets into these positions, he can't get past the fact that he killed Yua, and it's messing him up, and it's been messing him up for 10 years. Like we only see that.
And
clearly he's like fallen. Yeah.
We also see the promoter say, "What are you doing here? You're better than this." And Cobra-san just says, "I'm not. Trust me, I'm not better than this. I deserve all this I'm doing."
It's also a subtle, like,
and you can see here, look, all the blood just down his back from the
on that scene. It's a very similar scene to we just saw with Lona, where the promoter comes afterwards and goes, here's your money. Like, what are you doing? They're both in this like position of, I can't move forward until I start getting trained properly, and I have all this great potential. Whereas he's the opposite, and he's like, what the fuck are you doing? You have all this potential. You've done all this stuff. Like, why are you down here in the pits with me? Like, kind of thing. Which I thought was pretty cool.
Also,
I do think it was really funny when Lona goes to meet him after Cobra-san after his match. Yeah. She's like, "Hey, I have a proposition to like fight in this Mortal Kombat tournament." And he's like, "Oh, that necromancer? I don't want anything to do with that."
That necro guy talked to you?
And I'm like, he's so casual about it. He's like, "Oh, that other dimension that you went to with the fucking demons and the necromancer who
I thought it was
offered to bring my wife back."
I
was like, you said it so casually.
Just like, I thought it was just a fun way of like cutting to the chase, so she doesn't have to explain it all and be like, "Oh, what are you roping me into?"
Yeah,
like he's just like, "Oh, he talked to you too,"
Yeah,
it was funny.
Well, there's a lot of dialogue kind of like that sort of these fantastical elements happen, and then it's just kind of a deadpan response to it.
So this is a moment that comes later, of course, when she finds out it's her father. But like, there's this brief period in that discussion too, where he starts to say, "Lona, your mother was the best I've ever," like, that kind of thing. And she cuts him off and just says, "Stop." Because this is the man that killed her. In her brain, this is not her father. Yeah. And it's just the man that, that killed her mother. And she's doing this because she needs to. And she knows, maybe there's a part of her that just knows, like, yeah, when we win, if we win, he'll of course agree to bring my mom back to life. Like he's, just as devastated on it, maybe on a different level, but like, I think that's interesting because when we do finally see that point, she just kind of immediately goes like, Dad, it's okay. And he's been worried about it for 10 fucking years and like all this time, even to the point where he was devastated when his mask got ripped off. But it's like, she just goes, it's okay, Dad. Like that's, I know it was an accident, and knowing it was you, it makes it better almost, I don't know.
Again, she's like the adult.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
he's very much not mature.
She accepted him, and I don't know.
But Patrick,
it's not a complaint of mine. I think it's an interesting role reversal of, even though she's the new wrestler, it's almost like, emotionally she is the more experienced, emotionally stable out of the two of them, and kind of.
You have to accept.
Go ahead.
You have to accept that this is a post-DEI comic where, of course, the female character is going to get all the flowers.
You're right.
So
as opposed to the man. I mean,
I think the trauma of what he went through isn't more or less than hers. It's just very different, especially because he was responsible for it. And they both sign up for danger and the ability that might happen at any time with anyone. But to do it to your own wife, like that's a level of like, oh, fuck, that's the worst possible scenario. But like she's had to deal with her mother's death from a very different perspective. Like someone murdered my mother in the ring, I'm going to become like, so she's worked for 10 years to become her. Whereas he's worked for 10 years so she doesn't become her, kind of thing. So it's a very, I don't know. They're both going for very different trauma. And that being said, like the father's trauma is a little more, not that it's
complex,
great to lose a mother or anything, but like a little more like, like at fault, not necessarily. Not only does he have to deal with the trauma of losing her, just like the daughter, but he also has to deal with the fact that it was his fault in quotation marks.
Yeah. Well, also
the guilt and the shame of it.
Yeah, the guilt. Yeah.
But to address
and
Patrick's
the fact
point,
that Lona, sorry, I keep saying Luna. Lona doesn't know that it was her dad. So he had to like hide that piece from her. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on there.
But I mean, to address Patrick's point without the DEI joke, I do agree that DWJ portrays Lona as a little bit of a Mary Sue of kind of like, I'm already great, I already know everything, I achieve everything, whatever. But I do think the idea is, knowing the origin of the comic like we do, and that Daniel Warren Johnson has a daughter, I think the idea here was just showing that a parent's job is to help their child flourish and sort of provide support for not do things for the child, but provide support for the child to achieve what they want.
Yeah.
And which is what we get. Like in all these matches.
Trying to see I'm a bad father?
Well, indirectly, you have to make it about you. But we see it in their matches in the Death-like tournament, is even though Cobra Sun does stuff here and there, it's mainly Lona doing things, and Cobra Sun just kind of supports her in achieving that. And again, I think it's DWJ just making that point that, a good father doesn't fight the battles for the daughter. He just helps out where the daughter needs, provides the kind of like extra supplement to get her over the top, rather than monopolize the conflict.
There's an interesting beat here at the end when the father bit is revealed as well, because it's Lona talking to her dad and just saying like, the last thing she said to her dad in the last issue was, "We're done. Like, I'm not talking to you ever again. Like, you're always trying to stop me from achieving this." And it's right before she finds out about all the necromancy stuff. But, in this book, she's basically like, "Hey, I have to tell you something. I'm going to go away. It has to do with wrestling. I don't know if I'm coming back," that kind of thing. And it's that moment where he's like, "Okay, be careful." And she's like, "I will." And she hits end. And it's an interesting, because that's the reveal that it's the dad, that's the wrestler. But it's interesting because initially he's like, "No, I'm not doing it with you," kind of thing. So when it comes to that, the father then has the same in issue 3. Getting to issue 3, the father has the same kind of like conversation with the uncle and is like, "Hey, I'm going to go away. There's a thing. I'm doing it. you might not see me again, kind of thing. And I just thought it was interesting that they're both kind of like saying the same thing to each other. I don't know, like in different ways. I don't know. Kind of interesting.
Do you all have?
And then it turns out that Uncle's there later too, and you're just like, how many times?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, Necroton really well, but we see it earlier too. Kind of the genesis of this idea for Necroton, I think, was Yua's death. So maybe it makes sense that he goes after everybody she knows.
He seems like, although he got wrestlers from other places, he really did focus.
He really
on
just cared about
that
Yua. Yeah. Well, she was the best.
Yeah.
She was the best.
She was the best.
What do you think about the scene when Yua actually sees her mom for a brief bit? Like,
it didn't feel real. I don't think that was
that moment
really...
that he doesn't have the power.
No,
to
it was an illusion. I think.
Oh
it was
yeah,
an illusion.
he definitely knew.
He knew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
but
he
also
was just trying to like motivate her to come to his tournament.
For sure.
Yeah,
but also, it was definitely an illusion, kind of like when our president spoke to Teddy Roosevelt as an AI construct. It wasn't real, it was more of just a hologram of you.
Actually, Teddy Roosevelt is alive still, and he was converted into. They discovered AGI back like in the when was Teddy Roosevelt president? Like the 1940s. All right.
He must have died. He probably died in the 20s or 30s. I think. I don't know.
20s.
There were so many Roosevelts.
I'm thinking of Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
FDR died in the 40s. Yeah, because he died during.
Okay,
World War
so
II.
we're talking about Teddy Roosevelt. The guy
Teddy
with
Roosevelt's
teddy bears
the
named
Rough
after him.
Riders. He's more like cowboy era.
My point is, he's alive still, like the fucking guy in Hydra and Captain America.
Yeah, it totally makes total sense.
So
anyway, my joke didn't. That was a flop. Let it out.
Okay,
got it.
So Teddy Roosevelt,
cut that.
He died in 1919. But also, do you all save your family members like in your phone as dad and mom? Do you do that? Because I don't. I use full names for family.
My phone is literally dad.
My
mom,
dad's
brother,
name is
sister.
Dad.
Oh wow!
You really have brother, sister? That I don't know.
Every time my brother texts me, which is once a year, my birthday, it always makes me think of Full Metal Alchemist. How they always refer to each other as brother.
I have my brother's full names in though. I like
brother fight.
Like it's Christopher Michael. It's not just like it's not just Chris. It's like it's the full name. My mom's name is Summerland, but that's because of some weird thing that happened in my phone.
Summerland,
and I just left it. It's a title of a book about baseball by Michael Chabon. It doesn't make any sense. I had the number to buy Braves tickets in my phone like 1,000 years ago, and I saved it as Summerland because it's a book about baseball. And I just would like, let me get Braves tickets. And then for some reason, when I got like a new phone, it just made my mom's name Summerland. I was like, well, I'm never changing that.
Yeah,
so
that works.
My mom's name is Summerland. It doesn't make any sense.
Speaking of baseball books, you should check out The Brothers K. It's a good book.
Okay.
It's about four brothers growing up in the upper Midwest, and their dad is kind of a minor league baseball guy. And it's kind of a good book, but it's called The Brothers K. Okay, the Deathlife Tournament, which kind of looks like a gothy Renaissance fair.
Again, I kind of love these character designs. I love the image that Joe has pulled up with the tournament and all the different.
Yeah,
we didn't find out anything about the Devil Riders or the Luchabots. We barely learned anything about.
I know, but I kind of like that though.
I guess.
I know we were mentioning it earlier. Like it could have used 2 more issues.
Yeah, but so we learned a lot.
There's literally a montage of them training that could have been just them training while we were watching other fights happen. That would have been fun.
But the bracket,
I kind of like that he just went like, well, these are the fights that matter. And
so the bracket for the tournament is, of course, we have Sun and Steel, which is Lona and her dad. Then we have Orangabang, who are 2 anthropomorphic orangutans who are wearing basketball jerseys.
Yeah.
No, wait, it's singlets.
It's wrestling.
They're wrestling singlets. That makes sense.
But
next we have
would make no sense.
Next we have
they're wrestlers, but they're really into basketball. E-ball, that's what they call it.
Hey, look, there's no rule that says an orangutan can't play basketball.
They can palm the ball and just
there's no rule. Yeah,
it's
the Air Bud corollary. Any animal can play basketball. Next we have fuck
corollary.
Yeah. Well, then we have fuck your stupid opinions. who are like a paunchy man with a metal leg and a woman with a Vegeta haircut.
Yeah, but we also meet them in the bar.
Yeah, they try to punch a puppy.
Turns
So
out
they're the bad.
Kind of like pushes them into the villain category. Like they're the heels.
Then we have, this is kind of funny because this feels very New York-ish, but they have Pizza Party, which is a pizza-eating rat, and a pizza man. Yeah. So that feels pretty New York.
It's very Ninja Turtle-y.
Lucha Bots are...
It's a raccoon. It's a rat?
Is it a raccoon?
Is it a raccoon? I thought it was a rat.
It makes more sense for it to be a rat, I think.
Okay. We have Puro Pack from Earth, who we figure out later. And then we have...
I would have liked to learn more about his whole... I feel like he deserved an issue to himself. And the Devil Doers also we just get nothing about. I think you mentioned that then, Patrick, but we get nothing about them. The Knights of Rhyme we get a little bit about because they're from Valthar, which is Necrotons. Right.
Thing. But that's the bracket. That's the bracket. And we're introduced to Fuck Your Stupid Opinions at a bar because they attack a puppy. Just to let you know they're evil. They try to attack a puppy.
Just to let you know, yes. And whose puppy that was? I don't know. We don't know. It's never revealed. I thought there would be a bigger thing with the puppy later, but like it's just there literally to highlight that those people are terrible. So our first match is with Orangabang, and I'd be terrified. I was like, how are they going to defeat these giant orangutans? I'm pretty sure a regular orangutan would be.
Well, can we real quick before we get into the orangutans? The orangutans rescue them and the puppy from Fuck Your Stupid Opinions, right? And then you learn that they're fighting for her sister. This is definitely their sister's picture is like a ransom picture.
Yes.
She is like looking to the side and afraid. That's for sure a ransom picture.
Yes. You're right. I did think, why was the picture so depressing?
I don't know. I kind of got a vibe of like apes in captivity, like she's at a zoo or something. You know what I mean? Like she died in like.
But either way, I don't know.
I don't know. I got like I don't know why. It's a brief little panel, but like I don't know why I got that vibe.
Okay, I have a point to make on this issue though, and it goes back to Al's overall take because I kind of disagree what you were saying when you were saying that it's kind of a commentary. It's kind of belittling pro wrestling because the orangutans are like, hey, they saved them from the Pfizo people, the evil people that want to kill a puppy. The orangutans are like, we're fighting. Yeah, fuck your stupid opinions. The orangabang is like, hey, we're fighting for our sister. We're not going to hold back. And it cuts to Lona and her dad, and the dad's like kind of freaking out. He's like, we don't do real fighting. It's all fake, you know? And Lona makes the point, and she says, look, we know how dangerous the moves we do inside the ring are. Now it's just a matter of getting us into that mindset. And I kind of, I feel like to Al's point, I think it is like the skill is the fact that they are doing moves that can kill and paralyze people.
Killing someone. Yes.
But they're able to hold back. It's kind of like the Superman thing.
That's why I didn't feel like it was a statement on belittling wrestling.
I felt like it was literally like, we're just gonna untrain ourselves. And they obviously beat the orangutans, and it's because they're able to fight for real, and it's like this has always been their potential. The whole sport of professional wrestling on Earth is that it's quote unquote fake,
that they're holding back the whole time,
but it's because they're holding back the whole time, right? Yeah, it's like they're not trying to actually kill each other and hurt each other, but if they wanted to, they could do that.
Yeah, so it very much could be.
I get that.
That's why I didn't see it as like a anti-wrestling like theme throughout. Also, just the introduction of him talking about getting into wrestling and why he got into it, and the clear love he has for it in all the moves and how they're drawn and like everything that's happening throughout this book. Like, I just didn't get that impression at all. So I was really surprised when you said that. But like, there is certain instances, and that's one of them where like that doesn't come across to me.
I get what you mean, and I think you're right in that's probably definitely DWJ's intent is to show, well, look, these moves that are fake,
right? But
in a real
because he did it the way he's doing, right?
But I still come back to but still that conceit that you have to show it in a quote unquote real context is still undermines that idea of what wrestling is.
It may be, but I think it's just to like up the stakes of like what's
I
going
get,
on.
yeah,
It's
maybe
not
I'm
about,
over,
like,
maybe I'm overthinking.
yeah, I don't think it's about like dismantling or a commentary on wrestling itself as an art form. I think it's more just like, well, these stakes are real, you know, like we're in Mortal Kombat, you know, kind of thing, and less of like, you know, I don't think wrestling is valid or whatever, you know.
But still, I hope, either way, I hope the Orangabang sister gets help, because that's definitely a proof of life.
Again, they say
she's dead.
We wanted to make sure many years ago our sister was taken from us. So again, maybe that's where my brain went. Oh, she like in a zoo or fucking something weird, you know? Like I don't know, what country, what planet they're from. Maybe.
Well, she's definitely dead because they have to resurrect. But I mean, I hope she gets resurrected into a greener pasture.
Well, she's also, and it's subtle, but she's wearing the blue straps.
Yeah, she was also.
So maybe she died in a wrestling ring too, and it has nothing to do with what I'm saying.
Another point I wanted to make visually, back to that point of that Patrick made about like fake versus not. When they're having this discussion of don't they know it's fake? Oh my God, what are we going to do when it's real? They're standing in a hotel room, which is this gothy hotel room, which is actually it reminds me of the haunted hotel in Golden Saucer from Final Fantasy VII. But you can see that they're looking out this window, and this panel where they're talking about the fakeness is through the window bars, and it almost looks like DWJ wants you to see that they're in this prison of what they thought wrestling was, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That their comprehension of what their wrestling can achieve is in this prison of fakeness, but that once they break out of it, you know, they can apply their skill.
It very much looks like prison bars, like without a doubt, it looks like prison bars.
Also, I know we kind of mentioned at the beginning, but just to reiterate, Mike Spicer's colors throughout the book are really good. Really good. Like the tones and like what he's doing on all the pages. There's like orangey, glowy light, and it's mostly purple in this scene. And like every scene, I'm just like, phenomenal. He really knows how to like draw your eye into like the ring and not pay attention to the spectators, no matter how well they're drawn, whether they're just a bunch of ovals drawn as heads or, you know, depending on the scene. But like, really does a great job throughout.
So we jump right into this match with the Orangabang. Before, I don't want to bury the lead anymore.
It might be my favorite fight.
I don't want to bury the lead anymore. Let's talk about Cobra Sun's physique. Dude is jacked. Dude is jacked.
Again, to Joe's point, it makes no sense.
If he's wearing a blazer, though, not so much.
Yeah. He's like the Black Cat from Spider-Man animated series where she could like bulk up and slim down.
He bulks up. But he definitely, he's high on the Snyder Zoo scale. This dude tips the Snyder Zoo scale in his direction. Guy is
He's not as tall. He's not as tall. But
he's not as tall.
Height is a big thing.
His biceps aren't the size of 3 Lonas together.
Yeah. That's true.
He's not in the same height as that orangutan.
He's just ripped.
But the other thing, look at the vasculature.
The vascularity
vascularity
into the fight. Yeah. Oh, the vascularity is out of control.
And that's probably the steroids. That's
also, Lona's
he's doing.
Yes, it's definitely steroids.
So this is the classic first fight of the dad going like, but he's going like, I'm not going to tag you in. I don't want to. I'm trying to protect you still, and he's just going to do the whole fight by himself, getting his ass kicked, and it's fantastic. I love it.
He gets drop kicked.
This fight is so good.
Like how did his head not get decapitated off of his shoulders with that double foot?
Look at this
kick to the head by a ring. Yeah. That was very anime to me. It really reminds me of those anime shots where it's like a fast movement and then it's the still frame of the person, you know, one person's body's flying off in the distance and the other person's like still.
Dude, just talking about the ka is like still and then the pow is blurring.
Yeah.
Is spectacular. Like
also
just little things like that throughout this whole book are so awesome.
So also the Orangabangs have this move that's kind of a off the top rope German suplex where the other Orangabang jumps in and does kind of a DDT reverse neck drop. So it's almost like the Dudley Boys DDD, Dudley Death Drop.
So they call it the Attenborough's Cradle.
The Attenborough's Cradle. Yeah. So Attenborough is a nature documentary.
Yeah, he's a nature documentary, but like
and cradle because he's kind of cradling your neck. as they slam you down.
Right.
So, but it's a good finish.
But there's a panel of jungle behind them when they do it. So
Yeah.
there's, again, that's kind of to Patrick's point earlier, but I love the
Yeah,
little
and
subtle
actually,
things.
so
Like,
Patrick-
every time they do their
Yeah.
finishing move, there's like an actual pizza slice is there.
Yeah, so Pat, you stole my thunder because when we got into the issues, I was definitely going to bring up how this reminds me of how ping pong expresses the athleticism through imagery, and this does the same thing. Because ping pong does the thing where, like, whatever the character's origin and backstory is, they visually represent that as they play ping pong. We're, of course, talking about Ping Pong the Animation, the greatest television show ever made.
It's honestly so good.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's also visualized in the words. Again, I know I just showed Kapow, but like on the thing, the orangutan's kicking him in the face. It's on the screen right now if you're watching YouTube. But like the one side of the word boom is like breaking away. It's like the speed lines are breaking away from the rest of the words. There's such good incorporation of sound effects and like background words into like what's going on in the action. It's not even funny.
When Lona's daddy does the kick and the orangutan dodges it, the D is like really long. The bottom of the D kind of matches with the orangutan's. His arm is flying backwards, kind of in the same motion.
Oh yeah.
It's all very. And then when he slams him, the boom, the dad's arms are up in the air, and like the boom is like coming out of his arms up into the air.
Yeah,
the art is just fucking crazy.
Yeah, I can't stress enough how fucking good this art is. It's very stylized. Like you might not like if you like more photorealistic kind of stuff or whatever. You know, like you might not like it, but like I love this shit.
And this is where we see Lona really fucking like tear through these two people. Like
because so Cobra-san gets pinned and pretty much would have been down for a 3 count, but she breaks it up. She gets tagged in, and she comes in like Achilles at Troy.
Yeah,
dude, after Patroclus dies, when Achilles just starts murdering Trojans and filling their rivers with blood and just going at it, she destroys both orangutans and then hits this again. Back to the art, the way DWJ shows her moonsault.
Yes, the
verticality of it is just you can see the crowd in the background holding their breath as she's in midair. He does such a good job of showing.
That's one of my favorite moves. Again, I think this might be my favorite fight in the entire comics.
She looks
rather. But like first of all, there's the jump and the elbow to the face of the one, but the next panel is her other knee is forward, as in like just the movement panel to panel is amazing. Like one knee is smashing the little orangutan, and then like the next knee is smashing the one on the ropes. Is so like well shown, like so good.
I feel like
she smashes the ropes is just spectacular.
But the other cool thing about what I love again about this image is as she's flying in the air, you can see Cobra-san looking at her in sort of admiration.
Yeah.
Orangutan looking at her in fear. The ref looking at her and just like,
and the shadow of her is like shadowing the upper part of his head, and like it's just such good. So
and then the referee is just like, "Oh my god, is this happening?" It's pretty great.
What a moonsault by Lona Steelrose! Just like you can just see the whole thing. Like you're just like, "Holy shit!" And like the second she's let into the ring, she basically finishes the match. And
she ends
immediately going down to the stillness of like just the ring is like pale blue, and then the crowd is black and white, but you can still sort of see some of it. And her just going, I have to get her back. Like truly apologetic that she won against them. Like she's just it is I'm sorry, touching. But like I like that was so powerful. I love that.
And it's touching because the orangutans say like, "Oh, I've let us down. We did our best," and she just says that I want my mother back. I'm just these are the stakes, right? It's just everybody wants a loved one back, and that's what. And then we get a montage of the Knights of Rhine taking on the Pizza Slice. And again, we get that, to Patrick's point, that ping pong, kind of the Pizza Slice.
Yeah, the Pizza Slice, And the next stage is the Knights of the Round Table.
And the Knights of the Round Table.
King Arthur's Table.
The King Arthur's Table.
Yeah.
which is you kind of bring the guy's neck also
down onto the other guy's knees.
Yeah, he is definitely a raccoon. You were right there. But he brings the guy's neck down on his knees.
On his knees, yeah.
So the Knights of Rhine win, and that's the end of the issue.
Yeah, the Knights of Rhine also are like they're okay with killing. They actually prefer killing their opponents as opposed to just knocking them out.
They're cool with it.
Oh yeah, the Knights of Rhine. Did we get a backstory with them? But I don't care.
So the backstory is basically they're from Varnath. What was the name of that world?
Yeah, the world that banished Necroton.
The world that banished Necroton. And the king of that world, who looks like sort of an aged, decrepit, dementia, Alzheimer's filled king.
The Lord of the Rings.
He kind of reminds me of the current U.S. president, but you wanted to go with Lord of the Rings? Yeah.
Actually, he's got more fire in him than the current U.S. president. Yeah. I would also go with.
Are you talking about
the one that Wormtongue's whispering in the ear of? What's his name?
The King of Gondor? No, the King of Rohan. No, the King of
Rohan.
Rohan. Okay.
Yeah.
The Rohan.
I don't know.
He reminds me of that old decrepit king that's just like, what are you?
Sean Bean's.
What did I do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we get a flashback.
Sean Bean's father was the King of Gondor, not Rohan. But didn't Rohan also have an evil advisor?
He was the steward. Jesus Christ.
Didn't they both have evil advisors that were poisoning the kingdom?
You guys are fucking nerds, man.
No? Okay. Anyway,
the steward of Gondor was just an evil piece of shit.
The king reveals that their country had a champion who died in the fight against Necroton.
Yeah, so why would Necroton bring that guy back to life? That makes no sense. You know what I mean?
Well, he has to abide by the rules of the tournament.
Does he?
Yeah.
He doesn't.
Yeah, they signed a contract written in blood.
So they do a montage of working out, and then they're ready for the tournament.
And then we get the flashback with Yua and Lona's daddy, doing the sword sunrise, and we got the sword. I really like that panel a lot. The sword.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Very cool.
Again, a lot of the wrestling panel, like we're talking about a still image drawn of wrestling.
It is kind of crazy when you really
and it's amazing how good he looks. He makes it look like it's amazing.
Yep. So they do another montage.
This issue has a lot of there's a mother montage of them doing Tai Chi and there's all sorts of.
So I love when it says another montage at the top, and it's Lona and her father training. First of all, I love that panel. It's just fantastic.
Made me think of South Park.
But then,
yeah, I keep hearing the South Park music of like, we're doing a montage.
Oh, interesting.
With every frame, show a little bit of progress.
I can't see a montage like that without thinking of Wet Hot American Summer right away. But that's
I think just because South Park had a song,
A New Way.
Yeah, a new when they're Gene,
a new way. Gene,
Christopher Malone, man.
But I also laughed at this. This is a typical kind of like this has been done millions of times, but I sort of laughed where at the end of the montage, it's like, are you ready? And she goes, "I'm ready to kick ass." And then the next scene is her getting just punched in the face. Yeah.
Spectacular. My favorite part of the whole book. Just ready to kick some ass. Smash in the face. She does immediately come back.
I about to say those knees of hers are
she's devastating with that. She is getting when the big guy is like puts his foot like on her back and then it reaches all the way up to the top of her head and smashes her into the mat. I was like, oh shit, okay. A lot of fantastic panels of just wrestling moves happening. Like what?
That's all.
Why do I like this so much?
Well, we get a lot of clothesline, lariat.
Also,
moves.
She's got a kind of pretty badass moment though. It's very, very anime to me. I feel like I've seen this in so many animes where she's basically beaten down.
Yeah, the standing up
and my name is Lona Steelrose. My mom was Yua Steelrose, and that's like a very anime pose. I feel like where she's wiping the blood from her mouth, and her other hand is like is down. It's
and
all
she's
muscular
still wearing her Goku-esque.
Yes.
But it's also, it's also very wrestling. This is a lot of tag team matches. The babyface team does this where they're getting beat up. It seems all hope is lost, and then they find something at the bottom of the tank. They reverse some move, and then are able to get and tap their partner in. Like this is kind of typical wrestling cadence. And again, back to the moves. We've got lariats. Cobra Sun comes in with a German suplex. Lona does a flying elbow down onto the guy to finish him off. And then Cobra Sun kind of flips over the top rope and slams the second guy off of the ring to make sure Lona can get the 3 count. So it's exciting. It's good. Just good wrestling, good tag team wrestling.
Watching Cobra Sun flip out of the ring to smack the dude upside down is awesome. Loved it. Because he's like, I'm coming. Because they have this one rule where they can break. You don't have to tag in if you're just jumping in one time to break.
One time, yeah.
And she's already used hers or whatnot. I just thought that was awesome. I love that.
And then we get the obligatory match where the scary team fights their ally and kind of like sends them to the hospital. It goes back to Bloodsport, the Van Damme movie, but it's like a standard. It's a standard.
It's brutal.
Yeah, but it's a standard tournament art thing where the bad guys hospitalize / kill someone's friend, and then they have.
But is he gonna be fine? They're like, his neck is broken.
No,
I've got the best doctors. He goes, I have the best doctors.
No. He lived. That's the part where he's gonna be fine. His neck is broken. Like he's not gonna walk / wrestle ever again, kind of thing. I don't.
He says
I think that was like
he will heal.
He's alive.
But we never see Uncle Blood ever again. So I'm like, it's weird that like he said he will heal and then he's not at the end. I don't know. The end was very abrupt to me. This is one of the things where I'm like, I wish there was a whole issue dedicated to that fight of the uncle and the bad guys having a little bit more depth of what the uncle means to Lona and the father.
Yeah, we could have had some more backstory of,
and then also more backstory of the bad guys. Too. Like we get more backstory about Fizo than any other team, but it still wasn't really enough for me. I don't think. Like I could have used one more 7 issues would have been fine. I think.
So one thing I did laugh at when
8.
Oh, I thought it was 6 issues. No, 8 issues. 8 issues.
Well,
God is the 7th issue.
After the event, when Uncle Blood is on a hospital gurney, I kind of laughed when Necroton just says, "Well, his neck is broken."
Yeah,
and he goes, "Oh, but he's lucky. He should be dead. Don't worry." And it's like I've got the best doctors. He'll be back in no time. So I kind of like that. And then Lona says, "Like, well, fuck your stupid opinion. Should be disqualified, right? They almost killed him." And then Necroton goes, "Like, well, look, here's the thing. They're an incredible tag team, and they're very exciting. And so they're still in the tournament." And I just
it was after the bell rang, but like it's so exciting. The drama you can I'm just like, God damn, you can tell when he.
I laughed at that. Another FISO point. This finishing move is like that is some flexibility, where he just spreads that leg out and brings it down on the dude's neck.
They were prepared.
I do feel bad about Uncle Blood, and I do feel a little weird that we didn't get a check-in with him.
I don't. Honestly,
he's still healing, I guess.
I don't give a shit about Uncle. He has weird neck veins and muscles, and he's kind of an asshole to Lona's dad. I didn't like Uncle Blood. I really didn't like him.
Lona's dad killed his sister, but
yeah, it was an accident.
He also knows what they're getting into when they do that.
I think after 10 years, I would have been in therapy.
He wasn't a dick to him throughout. He was just right when it happened. You see a flashback.
Oh yeah, you're right. It was a flashback.
Face and being like, "Fuck you."
Also,
after that,
he dresses like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. Which is a weird choice.
Which actually in the audience, there's people with those masks on in the audience if you zoom in. So because FISO was they broke the uncle's neck, Lona's daddy wants to make it like a barbed wire match because he's like, well, if it's no holds barred, it's no holds barred. And then he breaks out like 1,000 weapons, and you're like, "Fuck yeah!"
And this goes back to that issue where we saw him. He's been to the depths of wrestling. He's done hardcore wrestling. He knows what this is.
Which I think is what kind of made it funny when he was so hesitant earlier about like being in the real wrestling, like kind of quote unquote. Like I thought it was interesting that he was just like, "I don't know if we can do this," and I'm like, "You have been doing this. You've been doing this. Like I know you." Sort of are still holding back on that level, but like you were going through all that pain and punishment already. I feel like this is right in your wheelhouse. understandable not wanting to get your daughter involved in it, but you're already here and you're already doing it. Like, I don't know.
Well, and I like too how in the next issue, basically they have to convince Necroton to let them do this no holds barred tournament. And again, their argument is just, hey man, this is great for drama. And Necroton goes like, okay, you know, I'm for that. Let's do
down
it.
for it.
Yeah, and weirdly enough, the FISO team is like, no, fuck that.
Fighting against it, yeah.
Yeah, we don't want that. We want to fucking wrestle for real or whatever. And they're like, this is wrestling for real. If anything, it's crazier and more dangerous.
And we do get some. So apparently, Fuck Your Stupid Opinions background is they both lost a child.
Children, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's kind of their background. And we do get a cool.
Yeah, it's brief, but it's still heartfelt. And I get it.
That's
You know,
again,
like,
I kind of
it's
wish we
not
just
real.
had, if they had one more issue about FISO and the uncle, I wouldn't have been mad about it, I don't think, and just kind of building the stakes that way. But
Yeah. Also, we get a cool
You
Predator.
could have interspliced a few more other fights. Sorry, Predator. Yes.
Predator style handshake between Lona and Cobra.
You son of a bitch.
Dylan, you son of a bitch. That's it.
But yeah, yeah, you're right, Patty. With like a little more, like you could have interspliced that with some of the other fights that we didn't get to see.
yeah,
You know. Yeah. Maybe.
One more
Yeah.
issue.
Maybe. Man. All right, Daniel Warren Johnson. One more issue. That's what we would have wanted.
I was fine. I honestly
Sprinkle in a little extra stuff, a little more backstories, a little more fights.
I could have done with one fewer issue, but that's fine. So we get to the final, and the final is again this tables, ladders, and chairs, no holds barred. And again, if you watch we talked about it. Actually, this was the short we did. We didn't talk about it in this one. But if you watch WWF in the Attitude Era, late 90s, early 2000s, this is the kind of match that got big. I mean, you've got tripping people and so that their necks hit the mat, throwing them out
I
of the
loved how
ring.
quickly they went. They went into the fight with this like the same way that Orangabang went at them.
Yeah.
Like I loved how they just went straight into the fight.
And climbing
Cobra
up,
Sons comes in, smashing him in the face, and before the woman can react, Lona's on the other end, whipping her feet out and cracking her head on the mat, like you just showed.
Yeah, and they've they're going up 20-foot ladders and jumping off through tables. This is the standard kind of hardcore rule set. Thumbtacks, tables, chairs with barbed wire, chains. They are brutalizing each other.
I love. By the way, weird note that I haven't said so far. Love Lona's mohawk that peeks down under her bandana. Spectacular. Just love it.
oh
That's
yeah.
all.
I have one
I
comment
love
to
the
make.
little tiny bit of her mohawk coming out from underneath the bandana. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, that is cute. I do that when I wear a
It's awesome.
backward baseball cap, and I wear a backward baseball cap. I do the same thing. Put a little hair out.
Yeah, your little
I did.
flying out of it.
My one other big note I want to make was you guys were talking about earlier about when the dad is fighting in the barbed wire match in like issue 2. Lona's never fought in a match like this. She's like, this is gonna hurt,
Right.
and the dad says, yeah, it's gonna hurt, but you have to push the pain down, separate it from yourself, and hide it away where it can't touch you. Don't be afraid of the blood. Wear the red like a badge of honor to show how resilient you are, that you can't be beaten. And I thought that was kind of an interesting bit of advice to give to her, because I do the idea of your body being shredded by barbed wire and just blood everywhere, I think would cause me to, I think having the
Freak
mindset
out.
of like, it's not going to kill you per se. You just have to kind of roll with it and survive
just
this
move
next
through it.
10
Yeah,
minutes. And
Another point I want to make is that this whole hyper violent barbed wire bloody version of the match is something that Cobra Sun himself offered as something to subject his own daughter to. So cool.
I think at this
parenting.
point he's got enough, I don't know, confidence in her that she's one of the best fighters.
Yeah.
maybe?
Yeah,
I
okay,
don't
still.
know.
Maybe don't have your daughter get hit in the eye with a barbed wire bat, Like maybe don't
She
do
does
that.
it though.
What she signed
She
up
does
for,
that.
Yeah. But so through the course of the
I
match,
think it's them going, we're not going to beat these people unless we take it to a level that we can do, but they're not necessarily ready for. And I think that's kind of like what's going on.
but so the match is a lot of back and forths. It culminates in, first of all, this pretty brutal suplex off the top rope into an open chair so that it cracks the guy's back.
Yeah. All right, so this
Which
is what I was going to
insane.
say about this, and we hadn't kind of seen it until now, but like, I mean, we've seen it subtly, but this fight kind of highlights that. But there's moments where like his body is just rubber bending around. Like the way he shows the impact of it is like the guy's body is just like warping around the chairs as he smashes. Yeah, like the other ends of his body are smashing into the chairs and like over the backs of the chairs. His abdomen is just kind of like rubber tubing around it, and it's like you get it a little bit with Cobra Sun kicking him in the face early too, and like in the way she sort of when she whips the woman into the mat. But man, there's some interesting, like as the fights intensify, there's some interesting moments where like bodies start to bend around the impacts that are happening. Yeah. And I liked that he didn't not do it earlier, but he did it more subtly. And then like it's kind of ramped up as the moves get crazier and crazier throughout the book, which I really loved.
Yeah. But so towards the end of it, they try to go for their Sun and Steel finishing move. But while Cobra Sun is doing the setup, the dude from Fuck Your Stupid Opinions rips his mask off, and Lona sees that it's her dad. And then the woman from Fuck Your Stupid Opinions sneaks up behind her, beats her up, and then pins her. And FISO wins the
match. But then, because they're both wanting to bring their children back to life, they have a standoff.
They can't agree. Well, they agreed to disagree.
They agreed to fight if they won.
Like, if we win, we'll agree to fight to the death, basically, to bring the person back that we want to bring back to life, which is our own child.
Well, and this is the part I like, too. Yeah, because we get that flashback where they agree to that pact. And then in the present, Necroton goes like, "Congrats, you guys won!" But then they square up to murder each other, and he just goes, "What are you doing?
What are y'all doing?
What's happening here, guys?"
I do like the page of her father with the torn mask, like looking over his daughter and kind of going like, "This is happening to me again," you know, like kind of thing. Like she gets destroyed in that moment, and he's like, "Lona, answer me!" And then meanwhile, the rest just like, "The winners, FISO!" And you know, he's holding their hands up. And they both don't look happy, like, because they know what they're about to do to each other. We don't, but like they do, you know. So I thought that was interesting.
And then the next issue, we get background of sort of how Cobra Sun and Lona's mom met. I also, from an art and wrestling background, we see Cobra Sun do the shooting star press from the stands outside the ring into a DDT, which is pretty insane. Like, that is an insane wrestling move.
And he didn't break the guy's neck or kill him. That's kind of crazy.
Well, that's the craft, you know.
Exactly.
I think that's kind of what we've been saying. Yeah.
But DWJ does a great job of showing that. And
yeah, this one we also get the flashback of Lona's father's kind of perspective of that night when her mother died, and the uncle slaps him and is like, I've done that move 100 times. I don't know. And he's like, you don't know. And he's like, look at you. You're small without the mask. What even are you? And I thought that was interesting because, like, in this next issue, again, she does kind of forgive him right away, but he also struggles with taking off the mask in front of her. Like, he can't do it still. And like he's still so much like, if he's wrestling, he needs that on.
Yeah.
You know, like it still needs to be there. Even though it represents this like shame and guilt and all these things wrapped up in it, he still requires that.
Well, again, going back to the
interesting.
Back to those parallels with being a superhero, it's again the wrestler persona and the mask is what projects that aura. You know, just like if you were putting on a Green Arrow mask or whatever, or a Spider-Man,
or just two Green Arrow little eye things,
or
just paint two little arrowheads on your eyes. They won't connect
in a hood. Yeah.
Unless the hood shadow connects your mask, it doesn't connect. But like, I love the still, like, again, with a flashback to that scene with her bedroom again. And it's just her dad with her head in his hands, you know, his head in his hands. And like, while she's finally asleep or whatever after her mother died. and like because we're getting to see it from his perspective at this point, you know. So like they keep the touching base with that moment throughout. I think is what I don't know, emotionally got me into the story. Like as the story progressed and all the crazy fighting's happening, we have these like beats where like we're still focusing back in on, hey, remember the mom died, you know, and like refocusing on that. But it's always from someone else's perspective of like what they're feeling in that moment in time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So basically, this issue is a little bit of kind of an interstitial issue. But so fuck your stupid opinions end up just murdering each other. So the champions are both dead. So then Necroton goes back to Summon Steel and says like, hey, you guys win because the winners died, so you get to win. But it turns out he doesn't have enough magic to bring Yua back. So actually, I thought this scene was pretty funny because Cobra Sun kind of loses it and attacks Necroton. Like, you lied to us. You said you could bring Yua back. And then Necroton goes, turns giant and says, I am a destroyer of worlds. Don't forget who I am. You know, he does this whole speech. And then he just shrinks back down and goes, whew, okay, now that that's out of the way, this is what we could do. And I kind of laughed at Necroton.
Yeah, like how quickly he was like, I'm the fucking devil, brother. You know, and you're like, whoa, shit. And then he's like, anyway, you guys
okay. You still lied to us, but I'll let you get away with it this time.
But so it turns out that what his offer is I can't directly bring Yua back, but if you can beat God, maybe God will bring her back. And then, they get to square up against
God.
God.
The character design for God, I thought, was fantastic. The art, the way he moves.
Well, speaking of thighs, look at those thighs.
Get out of here. He breaks the scale. Look at the vascularity in those biceps. Look at his biceps in general. They're bigger than his deltoids. It's crazy.
And so the last issue is their match with God. First of all, Cobra Sun looks amazing in this new getup here as they get up.
Oh, yeah.
As they get ready.
New costumes.
I mean, both of them do. You mean Sun and Steel?
Sun and Steel, they look great.
I do like the bit of like snapping your fingers and they have new outfits for the next match. But it was fun. But yeah, they look cool.
And they fight God. And
which is fucking weird.
it is
But
crazy.
I want to say I love God's dialogue in this because as he's fighting them, he says like, "Fret not, child, for I will make."
Yeah.
Like he talks to them as if like, "My flock, let us wrestle," and it's great because he talks to them as if he is God and they're his creations, which is kind of.
It's interesting. I mean, like in the world that we're introduced to, with like, there's obviously different dimensions and all that stuff. Like, is this God or is it like a God-like being? Or and then like Necroton describes him as the one that made the universe, but at the same time, I'm like, well, did they come from different planets in that universe, or is he traveling to other dimensions? Because then, as the fight, instead of saying "Oh my God," like as the fight's happening, Necroton says "Oh my gods," like very distinctly saying like there is more than like this isn't the end all. But like at the same time, I'm just like
I think he's the Christian.
They're playing
God.
so fast and loose with like any kind of like what the rules are in terms of like this is a godlike being. Is it God? I don't know. Is it the God that we all know from Earth? That God, or is it just a God? I don't know. I thought it was pretty fun.
I think it's definitely our Earth God for sure.
I would say it's the Christian God. Yeah, all of his moves are like different Christian.
Oh yeah,
there's
a lot of that. Yeah.
His finishing move is the Pillars of Golgotha, and Golgotha is the hill that Jesus was crucified on. So I think it's.
He also has the crucifix bomb by the beginning and the end.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah.
But also back to the art when he does the pillars, there's a nuclear explosion in the ring. Like it's pretty insane.
Yeah.
But so they fight. I mean, without going into the specifics of the fight, they do pretty well. At one point, they make him bleed.
They do their sword finishing move, which is a spectacular page.
Yeah,
but at the end of it, it's God, and he wins. He just sort of overpowers.
Well, so after they do that finishing move, they pin him and they count 1, and then he just immediately throws them up, and they're like, not even a 2 count. Their finisher had almost no effect. But then it shows like God standing up, and he like huffs for a second, and a single drop of blood falls on the ground, and there's a 2-page spread of Necroton being like, "Oh my God, they make God bleed! Oh my God!" You know, like freaking out, and I just fucking like that. There's like a lava waterfall. The whole like everyone's screaming across the whole like it's so funny.
Enough of this. No
but
more.
Then he ends it with his Pillars of Golgotha, which is this kind of like double power bomb looking thing. Which, by the way, to have your head between those thighs is the only heaven I need. Am I right?
You're right.
I don't know if he's God or not, but I call that heaven. But yeah, but then that's it. But that's it.
So,
he wins.
Yeah, Mom doesn't come back to life. They get some belts though.
All right, so on that, God coming back to life, God gives them belts even though they lost. He's like, I present you with the God belts as a symbol, not of your victory, but of your ability to go toe to toe with me. And they look at them. There's a silent panel of them looking at them, and she just throws it down and goes, "I don't want your belt. I want my mom." And I'm like, fuck. I love I know it's wrapped in this insane story of wrestling and perceived hell. I don't know, whatever dimension, and also God's dimension, like whatever you want to call it. But like the through line is this fucking like really heartfelt story of what it's like to lose a parent and be the child and be the other parent in that scenario. And like that could not have spoken to me more on a personal level than I think I've ever, I was like, what the fuck? Like I was not expecting that going into the story. I was just expecting crazy wrestling stuff. And then I got this incredibly heartfelt story.
I'll be honest. Like, I'm kind of bearing my like recommendation thing. I would have preferred that he brought the mom back to fucking life. I'm like, that was the whole premise of this story. I'm pissed off that the consolation prize is her getting one memory back. Like, at least give her like a 5-minute reunion with the mom. Like, I would have anything. The fact that mom is just like in the stands, like watching her, I'm just like, I felt like that was kind of a cop out because you're waiting for her to be brought back to life the entire series. Then Necroton is like, oh, I'm just kidding, I can't do that, but this other guy can do it. But then also this guy isn't going to do it for you either. I would have preferred the mom came back to life.
They didn't win.
One thing I would say, for one thing, is they didn't win. So yeah, you don't get the prize if you don't win.
They lost. You don't get a prize if you lose.
I think this would have been better without this last panel of the mom in the stands, because I did think it was kind of a nice consolation of they didn't really win, but God says, and God anyway says, look, you're not, the mysteries of the universe, like you're not going to get an answer here, but have a memory back. And I thought it was kind of touching for her to get that memory back of the second half of this conversation she had with
I think you're right. I think if it ended with the dad and the daughter
in the ring embracing, and that was it would have worked better.
Because then you're like
showing,
the fact that mom's in these stands, I'm like, why didn't you like say, hey, I'm here. Good to see you guys. Deuces. I don't know. It was kind of weird.
It would have been better if it ended with the panel above it of just them holding each other in the ring. Without the mom. Yeah. And then the mom makes a meta point about going back to the point of wrestling being fake and tying into life. The mom makes the point that, the ending doesn't matter as much as the story getting there. And even if you know the end is predetermined or not, again, story getting there that matters, which is kind of
not the destination, it's the journey metaphor.
Well, it's the kid, it's the kid saying like what happens when you die kind of thing. And the mom not having an answer and just kind of going like, well, we all know the ending of a wrestling match. It's going to end. Like we all know the ending of life. We're all going to die. It's not about like what happens at the end. It's just about getting there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I liked that bait. I don't know. I liked the mom sitting in the arena. It didn't bother me. Kind of in the sense of like contentment. Like she knows she can't come back to life. God knows she shouldn't come back to life. Like no one's ever going to beat God in a wrestling match. So that's not going to happen. Like just that kind of idea of like, but she's there watching them. I kind of enjoyed.
Well, sorry, Joe, you're kind of breaking up. Can you repeat that? Because like I've got this weird buzzing in my audio.
does it sound
I don't
like?
know if you're hearing like this kind of this. Does this pass the Bechdel test?
The Bechdel test,
Bechdel test, the Bechdel test. Does this pass
Does
the
this
Bechdel
pass the
test?
test? The answer is probably no.
Probably.
This one does though. This one
It does though. Yeah, it does.
It does.
This one
Yeah.
does. Yua and Lona talk to each other. Plus,
A lot of heartfelt mother-daughter.
plus
comments.
Lona, the main character is Lona. So I mean, this passes the Bechdel test. Good work,
Yeah.
DWJ. You got it.
Yeah,
For
good work. Good
For
work.
sure.
DWJ, is that what we're calling him?
Yeah,
I
think we
He's also in the
clarified that.
audience. You know, just so you know, he's a couple of seats over from Yua watching the match.
Lona's daddy does register on the Snyder's Zoo scale. So
I
that just
mean,
leaves
he
us with
does. So does God, by the way, which he should, I guess.
yeah, God. Oh my gosh.
God,
Oh my God.
God.
I mean,
tips the
God
Snyder Zoo
doesn't,
scale.
doesn't take his shirt off, but I'm pretty sure he registers on the Snyder.
His thighs alone.
I mean, God is on Snyder Zeus level. Like he's enormously bigger
It
than
is enormous. Yeah.
Cobra
He's
Sun.
enormous.
You know, like
Yes.
he's
Yeah.
huge.
Big guy.
He's a big guy.
Tough
So
guy.
should we go to, I guess, like recommendations, final thoughts?
Recommendations.
I'll just go
Yeah.
first.
Final thoughts, recommendations.
I'll go first. I mean, again, as lukewarm as I am on it, I guess I would recommend it just as a if you're looking for a graphic novel that's not about superheroes. It's pretty readable. It's just get the TPB, read it, have fun. I recommend it for that. But I'm still, again, I'm sort of lukewarm on it as an actual full book. But art's good, story's touching, dialogue has funny moments. It's not the greatest, but like it's a day and a half of your life to read it. So I recommend it for that.
Yeah.
I would say I have the exact same opinion. I feel like I kind of cop out with these recommendations because if you ask me for a recommendation, it wouldn't be the first thing at all off the top of my head. But if we were at a comic book store and you were like, "Hey, I wonder what this book is like," I'd be like, "It's pretty good. I'd recommend it." So yeah, the art is just. I mean, if you're into wrestling, if you're into more action, I think this is a good book. I do think the storyline, I think I'm on the same page with Al with that, is that it was a little, again, nothing like novel that I saw. But I did think they had some good beats. Like the reveal of the dad being the wrestler that killed the mom did kind of make me be like, holy shit. So yeah, I would recommend it.
Well, I mean, you guys both know I would say I recommend it from the beginning. But yeah, art-wise, spectacular. Like, loved basically every panel of this, even the tiny ones that are just like throwaways where it's just like, oh, I'm reaching out my hand, tag my hand in the wrestling match. I'm like, that looked cool. Such good art in this. That's not even funny. It is kind of like up my alley in terms of crazy sketchy mixed with just well drawn and well rendered things though. So like there's a lot of this art style that speaks to me. But that being said, there's a reason for that. The action was so good. Like, anyway, just can't talk enough about that. We already did. Yeah, I really like the story, though. I mean, I know you guys are like, it's a little silly. There's some reticence in terms of like, well, is it they threw away wrestling? And I was like, I don't really feel like I felt that. I just felt like they had to like up the stakes and make it more serious. And also, it's clearly a love letter to wrestling in general. Like I can't imagine you reading this and going like, this guy doesn't like wrestling. Like that's obviously not what's happening. There's a beat where Lona wakes up after that match and the dad is like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't let you see who I really was. And she just goes, I know who you are. You're my dad. And that like the thing that he'd been worried about for 10 years culminates.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Like, I understand, like I get this world. I get who you were. I get who you were. I get who mom was, like that. I don't like hold that against you. And it's such a quick throwaway moment because right away, like the dude comes back in and is like, you win now, and everything gets swept up into the next scene. But there's those emotional beats are so, I don't know, succinct to me.
Yeah.
He did a really good job of like hitting those little like making it feel like more than just a dumb wrestling comic, I guess, kind of thing. Fully recommend it.
Okay, I think
I guess we did it.
Yeah, I guess we did. I guess we won comics.
We won comics. Good journey, everybody. Good journey. Go see Master of the Universe. It's great. Good journey.
Good.
I said good journey.